Think about it. Printing a book years ago was almost impossible. I could print a book on demand, but it wasn't the case. I'd have to buy books. And then when I get it, a lot of times would be mistakes in the books and, oh, I got to do it over again. You spend all this money, hundreds of dollars to get it, and it's all wrong. And now you can probably still do that, but for the most part, if you check it, it should be fine.
Good afternoon, good day, good evening. I don't know what time you're listening or where you're listening from. It's your boy, your host, Ron Tillman, and you are with me for another episode of Walk in Victory. Speaking of victory, walk.
Warning, this is a public service announcement. The Walk in Victory podcast is where we have conversations purposed to evolve lives. You may not want to evolve. Then tune into another bleeping podcast. Everyone else, enjoy the show. And here's our host.
Good afternoon, good day, good evening. I don't know what time you're listening or where you're listening from. It's your boy, your host, Ron Tillman. You are with me for another episode of Walk in Victory, where we pride ourselves in having great conversations to help you evolve your life. We are living in history. Everybody lived in history, right? Because something historic was happening in every moment. But we're living in a time where things are being really transformed right before our very eyes. We are, seeing the phone. Excuse me. Well, sorry about that. I'll edit that out. We're seeing birth of AI, and we're actually, it's already existed. Let's put it this way. AI has already existed because there's things that were being automated. But the way that AI exists right now is new to us. I was working on a project. I'm working on a few projects, but I was working on a project the other day, and I was like, oh man, I have to get a graphic designer to help me with this out. Help me out with this. And then I started thinking about, all right, I got a designer in my pocket. If I can tell it the AI prompted properly and give it the directions that are really needed, we might wrestle a little bit, maybe off a little bit, maybe, but at least now I have the blueprint. I have now in my hand a blueprint that I can actually always work. I don't have to call an assistant. I have an assistant in my pocket. We're working on our Walk in Victory agent, and it's for young men that are coming home from incarceration. It's called the Reentry Agent. And this Reentry Agent is helping guys who are coming home to acclimate. Like the tutor for them in their pocket. They put in their zip code where they live at. They just show them job opportunities and that are friendly towards persons who have the record. It'll help them depending on how long they've been away. You show them how to use their phone, have meditations, all types of things in this agent. Help these young men or young women. That wasn't possible 4 or 5 years. Yes, we have Google, but this is centric towards their needs, centric towards their desires, centric towards is built to understand their pain points. It's not generic. We didn't have that before. On the flip side, because we're using this, we do know that there's some bad actors out there, some characters that's going to use the technology not for things that governments use technology to enhance their war chest. Big Pharma will use the technology to make more addictive drugs or whatever. But it's not all bad. It's not all bad. Yes, there's going to be some casualties. People may lose work because things will be misplaced, but there will always have to be a human connection because that's the way that life is built. We want to talk. Some things human connection with our next guest. How are you doing?
Just looking forward to connecting here. I appreciate the opportunity, Ron.
I thank you for joining me. You don't mind telling the audience a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do?
I'm an award-winning author. My new book is called The AI LinkedIn Advantage, and it helps you unleash the power of AI to dominate the competition. So what's good about it is that it'll help those listeners to optimize their profile on LinkedIn to get more opportunities for jobs or other ways to connect with people who could be influencers to help them seek work that they're looking to acquire.
Now, I'm horrible on LinkedIn. This conversation is gonna be great. I'm horrible. I just recently re-engaged LinkedIn. So, what are some of the things that you highlight in the book and how I and LinkedIn, as you heard my whole rant about AI and the benefits of it, but how does AI benefiting those who are on LinkedIn?
Well, what's good about it, the technology is that it helps you to optimize your profile. For example, it'll help search for keywords that, let's say, an employer is looking for, and you can actually include that as part of your title after your name. So you can really maximize on that ability for searches when a lot of people do searches for employees. So you can use AI to find certain keywords that would attract a certain employer to consider your abilities. And I would say LinkedIn is more than just a resume. It's more about providing, I would say, a way to connect with someone that's beyond a resume. For example, you can have features on it that could show recommendations from people who've used your services or people who vouch for you as far as working with you. And that's something quite unique in a way because they can actually see that they're actually real people and not somebody who's just made up, which sometimes could be a challenge. And in addition to that, you can talk about any type of volunteer work that you've done, experiences, any awards that you received. These are all helpful in a way to make more quality connections for the target you're looking to connect with.
Now, when you say AI, is this is something that you built specifically for LinkedIn, or is this can be used on Genesis or ChatGPT, or how does that work?
ChatGPT is pretty much the popular one that we use, and we reference that as well as other types of AI technology because it's always changing and evolving. And a lot of times there are certain types of technology for niche areas that are more better than ChatGPT. But for example, we'll just use that. And you could take ChatGPT to create content for your information on your website or on LinkedIn. You can help to write scripts for videos, for example. There's a lot of unique things about it that help you to save you time when you're on the platform because time is money and you want to make the most out of it. Particularly if you want to connect with influencers, it gives you an opportunity to reach out to them and provide valuable feedback for whatever postings that you're doing that AI can help you achieve.
So, give me a case scenario, like you go in and how do you optimize the AI agent to help you to find those keywords or to help you to what does a person start?
Ideally, you want to start with your profile. I would start with a professional headshot. If it's not current, I'd recommend getting a current headshot. There are a lot of professional photographers out there. You can get a pretty reasonable price and use that as part of your profile because that's something that a lot of people want to see, which makes a difference. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. That's what you want to focus it on. In addition to that, you have in the back, kind of like a billboard to kind of showcase some of your talents. And you can use that to like services like Canva, for example, can help create an artistic background that would help those who are connecting with you understand a little bit more about what you offer to them, whether it's as an educator or service provider, to showcase some of your talents, which definitely makes a difference. Because again, you only have a few seconds for someone to accept your connection. So you want to make it really stand out. In addition, you want to use AI to create content. You can create newsletters on LinkedIn to help attract individuals that you want to connect with. There are a lot of groups on LinkedIn, which are great that you want to, if you want to connect with, so they could be a referral partners like attorneys or CPAs or other individuals that could maybe refer business to you or job opportunities. So there's a lot of unique things you can use with AI to help find those searches.
And tell me why LinkedIn? What drew you to really sit down and say, I'm gonna write this book and I'm want to help people, but I really like this platform. You could have used any other platform. Why you chose LinkedIn?
Very simple. LinkedIn is a platform recognized as a business to business platform or business to consumer, has over 900 million members and growing, owned by Microsoft. So it has a really unique platform. It's grown tremendously over the years. And what I like about it is that it allows you to find people who are possible employers for your particular skill set. For example, you can use paid versions of LinkedIn called Sales Navigator, which you can pinpoint people who could be potential employers that would want to hire you based on a zip code, based on a title that they're responsible for. They can be, for example, employer and they're hiring currently, and you could be able to reach out to them on this platform where normally you couldn't find it in other platforms. So think about how selective you can be, like almost like a laser, to find out that individual and also find out if they're online and the last time they posted and maybe even reply to that post. Remember, they're getting inundated, a lot of people through resumes, through emails, for example, and they've got bots that really go through those particular resumes and weed out the ones that they don't want. But what's unique about LinkedIn is that you can connect with someone directly. And a lot of times, if they're looking to hire someone, sometimes the human approach could be the best way to get a job.
All right. So before you became an author, you was in the world of, you probably still are in the business world. What was it that made you take all of your history? Did you combine some of the things that you learned from your past and some of the things that you see have currently happening?
Yeah, when I started, networking was a different, still is today. They network through trade shows or through associations or business meetings, and that's still valid. But LinkedIn expanded that opportunity, particularly when COVID came around and a lot of things had shut down. So people were turning to online meetings and gatherings, and it's really has grown since that time, and it's still going strong today. So I said to myself, what's the best use of my time? Best use of my time is that I can reach a lot more people on this platform than I would if I went myself to an actual meeting and face to face. Let's face it. A lot of times whoever you're meeting with over there is usually trying to pitch you or sell you something.
Yeah.
You can waste your wheels in doing that to gas and money just to go down there. Okay, on LinkedIn. Okay. There are a number of groups you can join and connect with people that way or talk directly with people who are working on things that are valued to you. So you can use it very strategically and save you time and efforts.
Most people, I'll be 50 years old in September, God willing, if I make it. And there's a divide in my generation. We adapt, but the older we get, we don't want to adapt. Most people, when they're used to doing business in a certain way, it's hard for them to turn the corner, like Blockbuster and Netflix. You embraced AI. Were you early in breakthrough? Or did
I always believe that knowledge is you're always learning. When you finish school, you never stop learning. It's just a way to really set the groundwork. But I always listen to audiobooks or read business books and always try to learn about what's happening in the industry itself. A lot of times people, my generation, they'll play video games or they'll just watch endless and mindless TV on Netflix and really not look at anything other than just getting by day to day. And for me, when I travel in my car, I make my car a university on wheels. I listen to audiobooks, I listen to podcasts that are going to inspire, enlighten me, and always be on top of what's trending because that's really what gets you ahead in life. And if you don't do that, if you don't embrace technology, you'll get left behind, and that's not a good thing.
it not? And it's important as things do change that we stay on top of it. What's you use your time, you manage your time well. What got you into those habits, those healthy habits? Making sure that you stay current, read the books, listen to podcasts. What are some of the things that fuel you to embrace that
So
lifestyle?
what I've listened to and I've read worked. It's just if it's not working, why bother reading it? So if it didn't work, that's it. And I've really enjoyed myself to absorb as much information as possible. And for me, it's just setting the time aside to do that. You don't have to do it 24/7. If you can read even a book a week, why not in your field? You have 52 weeks, that's 52 books right there. And that could be as simple as an audiobook. Guests like this can educate people and they'll learn something that they never knew before. because they're paying attention, and that's really what makes a difference. So just make it a habit, and that really will work for you.
And see, when you talk about paying attention, making healthy habits, healthy choices, when you talk about transformation using AI to enhance your LinkedIn profile, most people don't even really think that those steps are necessary. Having a clean, updated headshot, having a clean LinkedIn page. Although this stuff sounds simplistic and it's something that we understand, how many people don't understand it? How many people need someone to remind them that these are the things, these are the steps, these are the things that you should do?
Well, it's very simple. When you're doing any type of outreach, and if you see that you're not getting the results you're looking for, there has to be something going on that's not working for you. And a lot of times people go out there without any profile and just find whoever wants to listen to them. And guess what? The first thing they do? They pitch slap them.
You think I like that one.
That's true. Guess what? They're blocked. Okay.
Yeah.
And they keep on doing that. And guess what? LinkedIn will figure out in the algorithm that you're a spammer and they'll close your account down. Come on. That's really what you don't want to have happen. So you got to play nice when you're on the platform.
You have to play nice when you're on the platform. Do you see, because now that you wrote a book that was centered around leveraging LinkedIn and all of that other stuff, how has that helped open other doors for you? Being an author that has done very well at selling books, has LinkedIn even said, "Hey man, thank you for even mentioning us and seeing people on the platform"?
Well, I don't necessarily get any response from LinkedIn. It would be nice to recognize. I have gotten a quote from someone who works at LinkedIn on the book, and it's on the back of my book. So I was really grateful for that. And they found in the book to be important and insightful. And I say that what the book has helped me is give me opportunity to get more speaking engagements where I can be in front of associations and groups and be paid for my time in front of these amazing organizations and enlighten their members. And I think that's the idea of having a book is becoming a thought leader. And that sets you apart from what's out there.
And when you become a thought leader and you're standing there and you have that authority, you bring in all of your experiences, not just the book, right? Because now you're talking, you're there because of the book, but there's other life experiences. There's other things that you bring to the table besides this one thing. And that's important to be diverse, right? How important is it for you to have the diversity and the skill set that you bring?
It's important because, again, a lot of organizations may be looking for certain types of things, may not be relevant to your topic, but could be related to, let's say, leadership, for example. And you can use the book as a way to create thought leaders for those who want to be on LinkedIn. And that could be a topic on its own. So you can revolve yourself around that and expand in terms of different areas, whether it's thought leadership, entrepreneurship, marketing. And it lends itself to other different categories. And a lot of organizations are looking for experts in that area. So therefore, this really helps to raise awareness for what I can offer.
Yeah. So this is your first book.
Oh, no, this is like my fifth book already. And my last book won actually an award, which was great. So for me, this also is up for an award too this year. Hopefully I'll achieve that as well. And for me, it's good because it gives me the ability that I've helped other people and they read it and they enjoyed it. And that's really what's worthwhile. Sometimes people publish books just for marketing purposes, but they don't really put any effort into it. If they want to put an effort into a book, put it up for an award, okay? Reach out to organizations that are giving books awards and see how it stands up against the competition. And if your book hasn't won an award, guess what? Maybe it's back to the drawing board because you really need to have that recognition in order to show people, hey, listen, I'm an award-winning author, okay? And it's true because I put the effort into it. I made the book as good as possible so I can be proud about it. And that's the most important thing. So not just publish a book, publish something that you can be proud about and be able to give it to organizations that may be able to showcase it if it's as good as you say it is. And that's important.
Yeah. So that entire process, you've done it 5 times, but that entire process, first identifying your topic, then like laying out how you want to do it. How many iterations? One book. Did you?
I mean, I had the idea because I did my research. I looked at what's on the marketplace, and there was no book out there. And a lot of books on LinkedIn, a lot of them are pretty dated because LinkedIn's always updating. And if they have, they don't even touch on AI technology whatsoever. So I saw an opportunity, and I knew maybe there may be some books down the road coming out. But for me, it was about first to market, and I jumped at the chance. I knew if I didn't do this now, I'll never have that chance, and opportunity to make my book stand out. And that's really what I did. And everyone else who has a book afterwards will be just followers, and I'll be the leader. And that's what it's all about. It's
Important is being, because sometimes people may say it's not about being first to market, it's about being best to market. But how important is it to be first to market in terms of actually being, like, as you said, the speaking engagements, you now become like the grandfather of this thing or the thought leader of this thing, right? Or or is there any validation of truth? It's not about being first to market, but being best to market.
you looked at what's already existing in the marketplace. For example, look at Facebook. All right.
Mhm.
Well, there was Facebook. What was before that? Do you even remember?
Yeah, I think it was MySpace. It was some kind of space.
Exactly. So Facebook wasn't first to market, but they took an example of MySpace and made it better. And that's what I did with my book. I took whatever was out there, made it better. And guess what? People are receptive to that. And that's what's great about it. Same thing with Facebook. That's why it's grown tremendously. And that's why you don't really hear about other platforms like MySpace, because it's just, I guess, the dinosaurs of the past. And
Funny because you always have these new startups and oh, we're gonna be safer than Facebook. We're gonna be better than Facebook. And they just so they figure what they do.
yeah, well, it is. And it's really a challenge, I would say. But if you're the type of person that believes in yourself and your abilities, there's no stopping you from doing a book yourself and making it happen. So I always encourage people to do that. Don't worry about the mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes making books in the past, and I learned from that. And if it wasn't for that experience, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Now, do you have a team? Did you get a team like a publisher or do you self-publish? How do you go about the marketing aspect of the book? Because somebody may be listening and have a book and it's not moving. And here it is, you're winning awards and you're selling it because they make it seem easy, Al. It's not easy. It's easy. Everybody be doing it. And here's my thing.
It's always a team effort, let's face it, okay? When someone produces a movie, okay, think about it. When Tom Cruise produces a movie, all right, you know what to expect, but he can't do it alone, all right? So he's got coordinators, he's got director, he's got location scouts. It's all part of the same thing when it comes to a book as a team. You got virtual assistants you work with. You've got people who are specially in covers, designers, people who are good at public relations. It's all part of the process. You put a team together, that's how a book comes to life. That's really what it is. But a lot of people think they can bypass it and do it, and that's really, they fall flat as a result. It's really almost pathetic when I see some of the books on LinkedIn and really the amount of pages they have. It's almost like a pamphlet, to be honest with you. My book is over 300 pages. I put a lot of information in there that people can absorb. And a lot of the other ones out there are not even worth the paper they're printed on, or if they're so old, they're dated, which is amazing. So this is current. I expect next year to have a more updated version because as technology changes, but that's fine because I know what to do next. And I think if I can give value to people, if someone benefits from my book, then I've succeeded in making myself proud that I can help other people that way.
See, I'm glad that you even mentioned that because you're almost looking at the book as if it's a life document, right? Did you understand the technology is going to advance? LinkedIn may have some changes. And so you're looking at this child work and you're saying, all right, I'm not doing because there's going to be some days that we're going to have to open back up and update this and update that. A lot of people don't think like that. How did you become such a forward progressive thinker?
As I mentioned, I learned from my mistakes. And if you don't make mistakes, okay, then guess what? You're just not going to grow. So it's trial and error, and that's always what it's always be. And even though this is the first book combining LinkedIn and AI, I expect down the road there'll be other things, technology that'll be out there that'll be more advanced, and I'll look forward to creating that book at that time. I also worked on the audiobook version of it, which was interesting because back in the day, we always used audiobook talent, voice talent to do that. To do a book like this, okay, my audiobook is about 6 hours long, would take normally almost a week or 2 weeks. to hire a voice talent to go ahead and do this. I used AI technology to make that happen. And it was amazing how good it was and flawless it was too, because there's always mistakes when you do voiceovers, there's always corrections. This is a perfect medium to work with. And there's always a lot of editing. But with AI technology, it's incredible how it's advanced to a point where it's almost indistinguishable between human voice and AI.
Yeah.
So that's really incredible.
I just cloned my voice the other day to help do some of the social media stuff. And I mean, it wasn't perfect, but hey, it beats me having to sit in front and talk on there.
Exactly. It's about making the best use of your time. And as the technology grows, you'll be finding down the road it'll be almost identical. And that's a great thing because it helps you get so much outreach. So when you have other things like avatars working for you, you can put your talent to other places, like maybe working on your own book, which is great.
Yeah, which is coming up. So I really think I like the fact that, and how do you feel as you see what's happening with AI? I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they called this guy, I can't remember, I hate when I don't remember people's name, but he was the godfather of AI, that's what they call him. And he was been speaking about AI for 50 years. And he brought up the point to yourself, if you gave someone advice on what to do, what they should be doing in AI, what would you tell them? He said, I would tell them to learn how to be a plumber. But he said, and he started to talk about where AI is headed towards. And he was saying that we may be fast tracking towards AI starting to think on its own from all the input and the information and the human not being able to control it down the line. And I was like, oh, when I speak to someone that's in technology, that's speaking about technology, speaking about AI, I'm going to ask them, how do they feel about that? So I want to ask you, how do you feel about that?
Isn't that the plot from the Terminator?
I think so, right? Yes, it was the plot from the Terminator.
Yeah. I think AI will provide a lot of opportunities, job opportunities, particularly what we call prompt engineers. It's a growth industry right now. And I think a lot of people who are your listeners may be looking to get into that type of field because it's a huge demand. And a lot of times you can do these things at home and create these prompts that are going to help people improve their way of communicating. And that's really where an opportunity exists. I would say embrace the technology itself that's given. It's just something that's another tool that you can use. I don't think we're at a point in this generation that's going to be taking over at some point. There's always checks and balances and such. And I think the fact is that if you're given a tool and if you don't know how to use it, learn, read a book, take a course. I have courses on my website that talks about how to optimize your profile and as well as use outreach. Go to my website, linkvantage.com, and you'll learn more about ways to expand your brand. And the end result is that always educate yourself on what's out there. Take advantage of the tools that are available to you because now is the time to do it. Years ago was never available. It was just think about it. Creating a book years ago was almost impossible. I could print a book on demand, but it wasn't the case. I'd have to buy books. And then when I get it, a lot of times will be mistakes in the books and, oh, I'm going to do it over again. You spend all this money, hundreds of dollars to get it, and it's all wrong. And now you could probably still do that, but for the most part, if you check it, it should be fine. And that's really what's great because the technology is at this point to make anyone who wants to become an author available, where before it was almost impossible. So I think it's a great opportunity to be doing this business.
It's amazing. You said one of your topics, and we'll end on this note. One of your topics is the healthy use of AI. When we hear that phrase, healthy use of AI, what does that mean?
Like helpful use, you mean?
Yeah, helpful use of it.
The fact is that if it's going to help you create content and help you write a script, it's going to save you time. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And as long as you just use it as a tool and not an end all, you want to put some of your own input into it. You want to be authentic whenever you're writing, but it'll help give you structure. And that's what you need. A lot of people can think of ideas. AI, you could tell it to give you 100 ideas on a topic. And guess what? Maybe one of those ideas will be great. And then expand upon that with other subtopics. And then you could put your own input with it. There's nothing wrong with using it as a technology. It's not an end all, but it's certainly like a tool. If you want to be writing a book, in the past, it's always it's a pencil or a pen. That's a tool you use to help you convey your messages. What do people do before that time period? Come on. So the same thing, just embrace it and don't be afraid of it because it really is going to help you in the long run be successful.
Thank you. All of it, Al's information, the book information, the website where you can get those courses, they're in the description. There's going to be links in the description that take you directly to what he has going on. Take advantage of it. Like, we bring you these guests, and you have to be looking at them.
QR code, we're there.
In the back, we bring you these guests to have conversations, but also to help you evolve. Right? A lot of these, I've taken prompt engineering courses. I stay abreast on prompt engineering. In fact, my book is going to be centered around prompt engineering. And we want you to be better. That's the whole point of this podcast. If I could just help one person change their life. I told you, I grew up in the projects, single parent. I don't make excuses. Far Rockaway, Queens was a hard place to live. Still me. To make an excuse for mediocrity, right? Anybody can quit, but we don't quit. We walk in victory. Don't ask you for cash out, minimals. But what we do ask you is that you hit like. Your likes help us go a long way. That you hit subscribe. Your subscriptions help us to go a long way. And that you share these episodes with someone else who may be interested in these topics. If you need to reach out to us, all of our information is available to you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.